Hello, Taurus. I need you to listen closely. Not with panic, but with presence, because something is happening around you right now that your body already knows. Even if your mind hasn't caught up, there's a strange shift in the energy around you. À quelle distorsion? Like the air feels heavier when certain people walk in. Like conversations that once felt safe now carry an edge. Like someone's watching your life unfold not with joy, but with judgment. This isn't paranoia. It's perception. Your intuition is not overreacting. It's alerting you. Because right now, someone close to you, not a stranger, not someone on the edges of your world, but someone you once trusted, someone you may still hold space for, is speaking words about you that are not true. And they're not just venting. They're shaping stories designed to fracture the way others see you. Stories that twist your silence into guilt, your kindness into manipulation, your success into suspicion. And Taurus, you need to know this isn't about gossip. This is strategic. It's subtle, maybe even polite on the surface, but the intention underneath is harmful. This person isn't doing it out of confusion. They're doing it because something in you, your light, your calm, your consistency has triggered something unhealed in them. They feel small next to you, not because you made them feel that way, but because they never felt like enough to begin with. And instead of facing that, instead of healing it, they chose the easier path to cut you down where they can. Quietly, passively, behind doors you don't even know are open. That's why the energy feels strange. That's why people around you have started acting differently, more distant, more reactive, or more silent than usual. The shift is not in you. It's in the narrative that's been whispered about you while you weren't in the room. And you may be asking yourself, why would they do this? What did I miss? But Taurus, the truth is you didn't do anything wrong. You simply grew. You stepped into your own timing, your own strength, your own boundaries. And when you started choosing peace over people-pleasing, when you stopped making yourself small to keep others comfortable, someone took that personally. Not because you hurt them, but because your presence reminded them of everything they haven't healed, everything they haven't owned, everything they tried to bury. And rather than face themselves, they turned on the one who made them feel seen. That someone is you, and it hurts. Not just because of what's being said, but because of who it's coming from. Taurus, I know how deep your loyalty runs. I know how long you hold on. And I know how much effort it takes for you to build trust in the first place. So when that trust is violated, not with an argument, not with a betrayal you could name, but with quiet slander, with masked envy, it leaves a kind of ache that's hard to explain. You may have brushed it off at first. Maybe you told yourself you were overthinking it, but your body never lies. And if you've been feeling tired for no reason, if you've been withdrawing without knowing why, if you've started questioning your own instincts or replaying old conversations, trying to find the moment where things shifted, this is why. It's not just emotional. It's energetic. You've been under an invisible attack. And now that the truth is rising, you can't unsee it. This isn't about revenge. It's not about confrontation. It's about clarity. Because when you know who's working against you, especially when they're smiling while they do it, you stop giving them access to your energy. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop seeking validation in spaces that have already been poisoned. And you start pulling your power back, not with drama, not with noise, but with choice. You choose to believe your intuition. You choose to believe that strange energy is a warning, not a coincidence. You choose to honor the version of you that doesn't need everyone to like you, especially those who are only kind when you're small. You don't need to defend yourself to people who are already looking for reasons to doubt you. You don't need to prove your heart to someone who's built a story that serves their ego more than it serves the truth. You just need to be quiet long enough to listen to what's already unfolding. Because the truth always comes to the surface, lies don't hold up forever. The ones who were convinced by the rumor will eventually start to notice the inconsistencies. The ones who walked away without asking will circle back, confused by the gap between what they heard and what they feel. And when that happens, Taurus, you won't need to say much. Your presence will speak for itself. Your peace will be the loudest answer. Your stability will expose what chaos tried to distort. So protect your space, pull your energy inward. Be mindful of who you vent to, of who you let close, of who knows your next move. Stay low. Stay focused. Let the lies crumble under the weight of their own dishonesty. You're not being dramatic. You're being awakened. And what's happening now is not punishment, it's revelation. It's the peeling away of false loyalty. It's the exposure of energy that's been working against you, not for you. And once it's clear, once the fog lifts, you'll realize this wasn't just about betrayal. It was about alignment. Because not everyone who starts the journey with you is meant to finish it with you. And this is your moment to walk away clean. Taurus, now that the veil has lifted and you've seen what you were never meant to ignore again, the question becomes, how do you protect yourself in a way that honors your peace without resorting to drama, conflict, or a version of yourself you've already outgrown? The answer is subtle, but it's powerful. And it begins here. You don't need to win a fight you never chose to be in, because this was never about proving your innocence. This is about refusing to let your energy be used as fuel for someone else's dysfunction. The first step to protecting yourself is recognizing that your silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Not all battles are won by words. Some are won by stillness. Some are won by the refusal to play a role in someone else's chaos. When someone is trying to drag your name through the mud, hoping you'll react, hoping you'll lose your center, don't give them the gift of your fire. Give them your absence. Give them your stillness. Give them the silence that unsettles the parts of them that needed your attention to feel powerful. This isn't passive. This is spiritual warfare, the kind fought with boundaries, not blame. So what does that look like in practice? It means you don't explain yourself to those who never asked for the truth to begin with. You stop rehashing what happened with people who are only there for the drama, not the healing. You don't give away your story to ears that were only waiting to twist it. You clear your digital space, mute the ones who drain you. Unfollow the ones who trigger old wounds. Block the ones who only reach out when they need access to your light. Energy travels through attention, Taurus. And when you give it to someone who's using it against you, you're feeding what you're meant to be starving. You protect your mornings because how you begin your day matters more than ever now. No more grabbing your phone first thing. No more letting their energy be the first thing you absorb. Start with breath. Start with a sentence that centers you. Something simple but true. Something like, I am rooted in my own energy. What's not mine cannot touch me. Speak it softly. Speak it daily. Speak it until your nervous system believes it. You stay unpredictable. You move in silence. You shift your habits. You don't let people know where you're going, what you're building, who you're trusting. People can't sabotage what they can't access. And right now, your next move is sacred. Keep it that way. You cleanse your energy like it's your home because it is. Take spiritual baths with salt and herbs. Burn cleansing smoke. Use sound. Move your body to shift stuck energy. Say out loud, I call my power back from every person, place, and thought that no longer serves me. Repeat until it stops shaking. Repeat until it lands. Because every time you do, you remind yourself that you are not a victim of the story, you are the author of what comes next. And Taurus, above all, you must remember this truth. Not everyone who lies about you wins. Some people win attention, but they lose access. They lose your presence. And eventually, they lose the version of themselves that was safe in your light. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to expose them. The universe is already handling that part. Their energy has written a contract. Their future will be forced to honor. And you just keep walking. Quietly, steadily, into a version of your life that doesn't require defense, only discernment. The deeper your peace, the louder their chaos will sound by comparison. Let it echo, because peace is your power now, and no one who lies deserves a seat at your table again. Taurus. It's not easy to stay silent when your name is being mishandled, when your motives are twisted, when someone you once trusted begins painting you in shades that don't belong to you, but you chose differently. You didn't react. You realigned. You didn't strike back. You stood still. And that choice, quiet on the outside, was thunderous in the realm of energy. Because every time you didn't explain yourself to people who had already made up their minds, you preserved the dignity they tried to take from you. Every time you didn't meet distortion with fire, you purified your field. Every time you chose restraint over revenge, the scales began to shift, not just in the unseen, but in very real ways that you are just beginning to feel. The reward of staying silent is clarity, not immediately, but unmistakably. Conversations that used to confuse you begin to fall apart. People who used to hold power over your mood lose access to your nervous system. Their words no longer land because their vibration no longer matches yours. And that, Taurus, is not luck. It is proof that alignment reorders everything around you. You'll start to notice something else. 2. A shift in who comes toward you. When you no longer dance with chaos, the energy of chaos stops showing up at your door. Suddenly, you're not surrounded by people who drain you, question you, or project onto you. Instead, you begin attracting those who see you clearly, not because you fought to be seen, but because you refused to shrink when others misunderstood. Your energy becomes cleaner, your boundaries become firmer, your decision becomes simpler. Not because life has become easier, but because you have become more sovereign within it. You are no longer available for the tug of war. You are no longer giving explanations to those who cannot meet you at your level. And the universe responds to that frequency by removing what no longer matches your integrity. This is the kind of reward that doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives with ease, with stillness, with the absence of the chaos you used to think was normal. You wake up one day and realize you haven't felt the need to overthink that conversation. You haven't replayed their words in your head for days. You haven't carried their name in your energy like a weight you couldn't shake. That, Taurus, is the reward. Peace isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's just the silence where pain used to live. And let's talk about what else arrives when you stay aligned. Opportunities. Subtle, soft at first, but deeply aligned. Invitations to speak, to lead, to create. New doors opening not because you chased them, but because your energy finally became clear enough to receive them. The path ahead gets less crowded, less noisy. What's meant for you no longer has to fight through distortion to reach you. It just comes because the universe is never blind to what's done in silence. The tears you cried without an audience, the boundaries you held without applause, the lies you endured without retaliation, none of it was wasted. All of it was witnessed. And when you meet betrayal with grace, the return is not just spiritual, it's tangible. You become magnetic in ways you can't script. You become untouchable in ways that don't require force. That is the power of staying rooted in your own frequency. You don't win the old battle, you rise above it. So if you've been wondering when your peace will be restored, know this. It already is. Every breath you've taken in silence was a choice to protect something sacred. And the ones who tried to sabotage you, their own words will circle back, not because you demanded justice, but because energy always finishes what it starts, and truth doesn't expire. It waits. And you, Taurus, you are no longer waiting. You're living. fully, softly, without shame, without performance. And that is your reward. Taurus, the ones who twisted your name will return. Not because they've changed, but because your silence spoke louder than they expected. Because the story they built around you is beginning to crumble without your energy holding it up. Because time, space, and truth have a way of revealing what manipulation tried to hide. And when the silence grows too loud for their comfort, when the guilt begins to itch beneath their calm exterior, they'll reach out, softly, subtly, maybe with a question, maybe with a compliment, maybe with a "how have you been" that carries the weight of everything left unsaid. And in that moment, your body will know before your mind does. A quickening in your chest, a tightening in your throat, a subtle drop in your gut. That's not fear. That's recognition. That's your nervous system, remembering what your heart once protected. It's not an invitation to revisit the pain. It's a reminder of how far you've come without needing to explain it to them. Because Taurus, when they come back, and they will, you do not owe them access. Not to your peace, not to your process, not to your progress. You don't owe them the version of you they once betrayed. Nor do you owe them the healed version of you they no longer recognize. You owe yourself your own protection. You owe your future the boundary your past self didn't know how to hold. They may say they were going through something. They may say they never meant to hurt you. They may even admit to the lies, the shade, the silence. But remember, this, an apology without change, is just a manipulation dressed in softness. A gentle tone does not erase the damage. A delayed confession does not undo the confusion they caused when they could have clarified things in real time. Growth is not always reconciliation. Sometimes it's clarity without reopening the wound. So what do you do when they come back? You stay calm. You stay steady. You don't rush to reply. You don't scroll their profile to decode their intentions. You don't write a novel trying to explain what they should have known. You center yourself before you respond, if you respond at all. And when you do speak, speak from the grounded place inside you that remembers how it felt to be misread, misused, or misrepresented. Speak without venom, without shame, with clarity, with boundaries. Something like, "I appreciate you reaching out, but I've moved in a different direction and I'm protecting my peace." Or simply, "I wish you well, but I'm not in a space to reconnect." You do not need to defend your healing to someone who delayed theirs. Because here's the truth. Taurus, when someone returns after throwing you into confusion, they're not coming back to reconnect, they're coming back to reattach. They're testing to see if the door is still open, and you have to decide, do I want to go through the lesson again? Or do I want to honor the version of myself who learned from it the first time? You didn't go through all that pain just to let it circle back with a better tone and a new excuse. You didn't rebuild your self-worth just to hand it over for a moment of closure. And no, this doesn't make you unforgiving. It makes you clear. It makes you discerning. It means you finally trust your own energy more than their explanation. And yes, they might accuse you of being cold, of being different, of changing. But Taurus, that's exactly the point. You did change. You stopped waiting for people to treat you better. You stopped trying to prove your heart to the wrong audience. You stopped begging to be understood. And when you stopped doing those things, your peace returned. You finally made space for people who never needed a backstory to love you gently and speak about you truthfully. So when they come back, let them find the version of you that no longer negotiates with betrayal. Let them find the version of you that smiles without bitterness and walks away without looking back. Let them find the version of you that learned how to say no, not to punish, but to protect, because your healing is not a bridge. It is a gate, and not everyone deserves to walk through it again. Taurus, as you lay your head down tonight, I want you to know that you're not broken because someone mishandled your name. You're not tainted because they couldn't hold your truth. And you're not hard to love because you chose to stay silent while they shouted things that weren't yours to carry. You're not bitter, you're healing. You're not cold, you're finally clear. And that clarity, no matter how lonely it feels tonight, is sacred. It is protection. It is closure. And it is a gift you gave yourself when no one else would. Maybe your chest still feels heavy. Maybe you're still replaying conversations, still wondering how they could twist something so innocent into something so sharp. Maybe your heart doesn't want to hate them, even after everything. And that's okay. You were made to feel deeply. You were made to hold contradictions, sadness and strength, compassion and boundary, grief and self-respect. Let yourself feel all of it. Let it pass through you like waves. But don't let it build a home inside you. You've already lived in confusion too long. You've earned the right to feel light again. If you need to cry, cry softly. Let the tears fall like a final cleansing. Let them carry away the residue of conversations that drained you. Messages you waited for. Apologies that never came. Let your pillow witness your release, not your resentment. And as you breathe through the ache, remember this, you didn't lose them. They lost the version of you that was still available to people who couldn't protect your name. That version of you gave too many chances, waited too long for honesty, and softened yourself just to keep the peace, but not anymore. Now, you sleep with both eyes closed and both feet on solid ground. You know what to protect now. You know what silence really means. You know the difference between healing and returning. You know that not every return is redemption. Some are just ghosts hoping you'll forget who they were the first time. And you won't. You'll remember, but you'll remember with grace, not grief. You'll remember without reopening the wound. So breathe in, deeply. Say this softly in your heart. If it helps, I forgive what I will not return to. I release what I don't have to carry. I am not who I was when they hurt me, and I love the one I became instead. Taurus. Tomorrow, you'll wake up just a little lighter. Maybe not fixed, maybe not glowing, but firmer in your step, calmer in your breath, sharper in your awareness, and softer not for the world, but for yourself. Because this isn't the end of your story. This is just where the old one closed and the new one, quiet and clear, begins to write itself in your own voice. Sleep well. Taurus, you've earned your rest. And the ones who truly see you, they'll find you in the peace you refuse to trade for noise.